All right, y'all. We are back in the building. Sky Squad, we are in this building today. We got to talk about a couple of items. It looks like Kim Zolciack is getting back to work. Okay, that's what the streets say. All right. So we also got to issue a correction from yesterday's story. I saw a couple of your comments, and so I wanted to go back and then verify the information. So yesterday in our video, we had indicated that it was Kim who filed first. I'd gotten this information from TMZ and Page Six. However, in doing some digging after seeing you guys' comments, what I found was that it was actually indeed Croy who filed first. Now, y'all know I don't have no problems admitting I was wrong. So that's what we're going to do right here. But I also have to take responsibility because I am talking to a multitude of people. All right. So my apologies for that. All right. I have no problem admitting that. But I went to the sources, which you guys can see here. I was up at 6:30 in the morning verifying what I had seen. All right. But when you dig a little deeper, all right, you will find again that it was indeed Croy who filed first. All right. So now that we have that, some people were in the comments also asking, well, why is that important? Well, I will also place this link down in the description below, similar to the way that I have with other source links. But it can matter who files for divorce first, but it doesn't necessarily give you any inherent rights over your spouse. It just allows you more control over the situation from the beginning and could provide some strategic benefits. Okay. So you could have a choice of which county to file the paperwork in, which could prove advantageous from a travel perspective. You can also have the opportunity to complete your due diligence without the burden of time constraints. Okay. And by filing first, you could be in a better position to predict when those dates and timelines for the court hearings will happen. All right. So, to answer that question, there is that. And I will again place another link in the description down below so that you guys can read it. But again, this is where I got the information from. These are the sources. All right. Now, we got to move on into something else because I could have swore we talked about this. Well, this was just an educated guess, but B. Scott got the exclusive confirmation, right? But it seems as though Kim Zolciack is already in talks for Ultimate Girls Trip. Now listen, I think, and a lot of y'all said it too. Kim gonna have to get back to work. Okay, she's gonna have to get back to the work. Point blank and the period. Now, our good friends over at OMFG Reality TV also reported on the Love B. Scott story. So here's a quote from the story. It says, as many of you have already probably guessed, Kim is already looking to resume her reality television career and is in talks to join Bravo's Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip for an upcoming season. The source says, I know for sure Kim has already been pitched for Girls Trip. They felt like she would be an amazing, they felt like she would have been amazing on the last Girls Trip, but it was already cast. Okay. So, very, very interesting indeed. Would you guys be interested in seeing Kim Zolciack on a next season of Ultimate Girls Trip? Now, you know, Girls Trip usually airs on NBC first and then on Bravo second. But the interesting thing is the Miami ladies started airing when they got this reboot going on. They started airing on Peacock first, well, the NBC Universal Peacock app. Let me say that. And then they went to Bravo. But this upcoming season will actually air on Bravo first and then on the Peacock app the next day. So, what that means is I feel like this is NBC Universal's Peacock is like a great testing ground for housewives that they want to bring back into the fold officially. And that is why I felt like Kim Zolciack would be a good fit after the divorce was announced, because I felt like she was going to have to get back to work. Now, this is not an official cast. Let me just say that this is not an official cast by any means. This is just me creating a cast that will create some chaos that we typically like to see on our Ultimate Girls Trip shows. We know that Monique had been asked prior to to do a previous season of Ultimate Girls Trip, but she was at the time doing Love and Marriage DC. Now, again, I just kind of brought her back into it because I felt like, why not, right? And so you have Lisa Rinna here. Again, I just wanted to create some chaos. You have Kelly Ben Simone. That is from New York City. She had a lot of chaos. Okay. Remember Scary Island? Katie Ross. Do I need to go any further? You have Kim Zolciack. You have Sonia Tremont Morgan, who would bring the fun. You have another wild card in Mary Cosby. And then I just threw in Kat Amini from the Real Housewives of DC because she was majorly outspoken. She had a British accent, and we know how, y'all know how we go up for a British accent on television, okay? So I said, how can I create the most chaos with the cast? And I said, this is it. This right here is it, baby. This is it. This is it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Again, this is nothing official. This is just me creating chaos. Okay. So let's move on because we got to talk about Brooke and Jackie Christie. So we have a video from Brooke Bailey, and she is basically detailing why she felt the way that she felt about Jackie Christie. And it will go into more detail because a lot of fans were kind of like, why would Brooke care if Jackie was at her daughter's or there for her daughter after her daughter passed? Excuse me. Whenever I'm talking about this, I kind of get a little bit, because it's a sensitive topic. You know what I'm saying? So Brooke posted a video which was on our friends over at Reality Chat's Instagram page. So take a look at this.
Generic text prior to my daughter passing away. Jackie was on my phone 2 to 3 times a week. Talking to me, Kiki and sis, I love you, trying to start a podcast with me, trying to work on, other projects outside of the show to bring to the show. So did I consider Jackie my friend? Yes, very much so. Considered her my friend. So when my daughter passed away, her sending me a generic text, maybe it was wrong for me to expect more from her, but I definitely did. When you consider someone your friend, you expect certain things. And I know what I would have done for her if she was in that situation, or how I would have been there for her. And it's not about her buying me a flower or flowers, doing anything other than being there for me. That's it. And if that was me expecting too much, then that's just what I did. That's my fault for expecting more than what she was able to provide. So she never reached out to my cousin Tyler, besides the DM of her asking to be on the guest list to come to Kayla's service. And she didn't show up, nor did she DM her back to say that she wasn't going to show up. She sent the DM to Tyler asking to be on the guest list. And when we were at the reunion filming, which they didn't show, Jackie told me that she doesn't do funerals, which is fine. You didn't have to come to the funeral, nor did you have to DM Tyler asking to be put on the guest list, whatever. It wasn't so much of what she didn't do, it's how she went about things. So the generic text, like Jen wasn't able to show up to the service, but she sent me a text message that felt like a hug through the phone. She sent flowers. Even Malaysia sent text messages to me that felt like a hug through the phone, felt like a friend that's comforting you. And I don't even have that type of relationship with her. So the relationship that I had with Jackie, I just felt like, if you can be in the middle of my marriage and trying to counsel me in my marriage and my husband, how come you can't be there for me when I have a loss of my daughter? So I'm done talking about it. I'm always gonna, stand 10 toes down on what I say and what I do. I'm always going to be respectful when it comes to my daughter's name and her legacy. So you guys make sure you check out K&B Inc. Life and check out what we're doing for her nonprofit. And I hope that you guys all have a beautiful day. And I hope that this was a little bit of clarity, because at this point, I'm really, really sick of the back and forth. I have no reason to lie. I posted my own text messages with her, DMs, all of that. Like, it is what it is. So, and I know now that we are not friends, and we just have a business relationship, and I'm okay with that. Sent me a very...
So much of this makes a lot more sense now because we will actually go through a couple of things that she talked about here, but now I kind of understand a lot better about why she was feeling the way she was feeling, especially as she goes through some of these receipts. And she is tagging Jackie Christie in some of these messages that we're going to go through right now. So she posts here and tags Jackie Christie and says, never spoke to Tyler Renee on the phone or myself. And she's referring to Jackie here. So then she goes on to post what appears to be a Instagram DM from Jackie to Tyler that says, hi, Tyler, please add me to the guest list, Jackie Christie. And apparently, this is for the funeral. And so Brooke says she DM'd Tyler and told me at the reunion that she doesn't do funerals. So why did you ask to be put on the list, Jackie Christie? And she's tagging Jackie Christie in all of these posts. So, you know Jackie's seeing them. So then she says, Jackie was on my phone calling me 2 to 3 times a week prior to Kayla passing, laughing, talking, and trying to do a podcast with me. When Kayla passed, she sent more messages through British Williams and Brandy Maxio. Jackie Christie and I built a friendship contrary to what most people think. So now it does make a bit more sense why she would have felt like if we're talking 2 to 3 times per week, um laughing and talking and doing all of these things, it would seem a little bit odd that after a major tragedy happens that you would not communicate directly with me or with Brooke during that period of time. Now, I also understand that not everybody knows how to handle, grief and when somebody passes. Sometimes we can mistake the idea that because they're probably receiving so many calls and text messages that we don't want to bother that person with an extra layer of, platitudes that may be offered, during a person's grief process. But because everybody grieves differently, you just don't know. So it's usually better to act with, I would say, err on the side of caution and just kind of do your due diligence and reach out and find out, right? So I get why she's feeling the way she's feeling at this point. And so she goes on to post what appears to be messages from Jackie to her, and it says, sending so much love and prayers, heart sis here if you need anything. This was on Tuesday, September 27th. And then she sent another message on October 1st and said, hey, sis, just sending you lots of love today. To which Brooke replies, thank you. And then another message on December 25th that is I guess, a gift of a Merry Christmas. So it's interesting here to sort of see like there is some reach outs happening, but I think if I were talking to someone all the time, then I can sort of see why Brooke would feel that way, but again, we don't know how Jackie handles grief. So I'm trying to be sensitive here because having dealt with this kind of recently myself, I I understand both sides of it. Um so we go on and Brooke says, and to be clear, like we talked about it in the other video, to be clear, Jackie Christie sent me a very generic text days after my daughter passed, but the friendship that I thought we developed behind the scenes, expected so much more from her. She knows this. We also discussed it at the reunion. So another person chimed in and says, this feel like Brooke was looking for a moment. I mean, she had all the time to confront Jackie about her daughter and she didn't, but she had time to let Jackie question her husband about his cheating. Girl, bye. So then Brooke responds and says, girl, when did I have time to confront Jackie? Filming was over when my daughter passed. Prior to my daughter passing, Jackie was calling my phone every week to chat, calling me sis and discussing business. So shut the F up. She then goes on to say, you guys seem to need clarity. Kayla passed away after filming was wrapped. Let's be clear. I didn't go back to finish my interviews for the season after September 25th, 2022. My first day back to work was the reunion, which was filmed March 9th. I'm thankful that by the grace of God, I have my sound mind and complete sanity to be able to move forward in life and continue to build a legacy in my daughter's name at KNB Inc. Life. And as you guys can see here, she goes on to post. Well, this is actually another one that says, you wasted my time, my family's time asking to be put on the guest list for Kayla's funeral and didn't show up after they spent countless hours on the seating chart. So please stop acting like I'm overreacting. I can keep going. So then Jackie posts her own message on her own page and says, really hope everyone stops spreading lies and hate about such a sensitive topic. I'm truly disappointed the narrative is being spun in such a way that to insinuate I did not, or say I did not call her on the very morning we all found out. As I said at the reunion, I spoke to Tyler and sent my love and prayers and condolences. I was assured she would reach out when she felt up to it. I then texted and DM'd several times after and received back messages. When the service came, I don't do well with them, so I didn't go and found out at the reunion my absence was missed and I apologized, period. At this juncture, I'm done going back and forth. We spoke and moved on at the Basketball Wives reunion. And then Jackie goes on to post similar screenshots of messages that she had sent over to Brooke. And there's more messages here. And then Brooke followed that up with, I'm going to let God handle it. I'm going to let God fix it because if I fix it, I'm going to jail. And then she tags Jackie Christie. Oh, baby. Listen, this is one of those other reasons why I feel like you cannot tape a show and do these AB seasons like this, because it creates a very confusing narrative for the audience to really truly understand why certain things happen the way that they did, or why certain people feel a certain type of way, because we don't know the timeline that filming occurred, another event happened, pickups happened, excuse me, interviews filmed, and then you have a reunion a whole year later. It's confusing to the fans. So I kind of have to blame the production and the network a little bit, because I think had we had a more succinct filming process and time frame, then I think fans would not have been so confused about all of this, and it would have played out a bit differently. It'll be interesting to see how next season plays out, because I'm sure they will be back for another season. Now, let's talk about Kenya and Martell. And I'm putting all of this in one video because I have quite the day today. So I wanted to make sure we got all of the good stuff in one video. So, in a sneak peek for the new episode, so spoiler alert, let me go ahead and put the disclaimer up here, baby, because I mean, I already know people gets upset. They get upset, baby, upset about a spoiler. But I'm gonna have to spoil it anyway. All right, so in this scene, you're gonna see in the second episode, similar to how we talked about the scene in the last video, you're gonna see Kenya and Martell finally come face to face over these text messages, and we're gonna actually take a look at the text message in question. So, in this video that is shared to us via the Bravo Shade Room, you see Martell is being confronted over what he texts Kenya. Now, at the start of this, they're talking to Sheree about the fact that there were text messages, or excuse me, DMs. Let me get it right. DMs, baby. DMs. DMs, DMs, DMs. DMs being sent to Kenya Moore from Martell. So at this point, when Sheree says, listen, y'all, if y'all want to come to me and tell me information, make sure that you have all of your receipts. At this point, Sanya walks off because she's like, this is my husband's birthday and I don't want to have no parts of this, basically. So at that point, she walks off, followed by Marlo. So Marlo's like, I'm staying out of the drama today. So at this point, Sheree ends up calling Martell over. And Martell basically, Sheree is describing the situation, and then he turns to Kenya and say, can she talk? And that's when she says, she kind of laughs and she says, "You are so aggressive, Martell." And so then basically they tell Martell, well, here she has the message, or she has the DM where she would have had to accept your request to communicate, basically. And Martell's basically tells her, I bet she accepted everybody's messages. Okay. So at that point, it starts to get a little tense. And Kenya get the feeling a little bit, a little bit upset. Okay. A little bit upset. So then Martell goes on to say that he didn't do it, but he has to be shown the messages, and he pulls it up on his phone, and we actually get to see what he says. Then he comes back over and he corrects himself. He's like, "You're right. I did send you a message, but this was in 2020. Yeah, it was August 19th, 2020. And here's what the message said: I appreciate the kind words when you were live with, I'm assuming this is Carlos. I'm not sure why they blocked out the name, but because I feel like we all know who it was. But basically, that's it. And the little laughing emoji. Now, the way Candy makes it seem like in her confessional, like there may have been more that could have been deleted later, but it appears as though this was the only message that was sent. But I kind of am curious, like, how is it that did he screenshot this from earlier? Because when Kenya showed us, she didn't really show us, but when we saw a glance at Kenya's phone, there was no message there. So how was the message still? How was he able to show the message on his phone and it didn't appear on her phone? Am I making any sense here, or am I crazy? Okay, y'all let me know in the chatterization down below. I told you guys this was going to be a long video. We had a lot to cover, but I didn't have time to really break it down into separate videos, and I just felt like we will condense it all into one. So you guys let me know your thoughts down in the chatterization, and I will catch you in the next video.